Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're getting back to the Volkswagen Dune Buggy build. Today we're going to be removing the front wheels and getting the disc brakes installed up front. We already did that for the back, and so now we just need to get the brakes installed up front and then get all four brakes connected, and this thing will be ready to get back on the road. We also have a few other upgrades, like I mentioned. New pedal kit front, we've got new brake lines we need to run, and then we'll need to do new shocks, all that other stuff. Probably put new tires and wheels on it. But for now, we're gonna get this jacked up in the front, get the front tires off, and get those new calipers and brakes mounted up front. So let's jump into it. These are the brake kits for the calipers right here, or rather the disc, and then we'll get this lifted up and get the front tires off. Alright, so now we just need to remove this little pin through here, and we'll be able to take this bolt off and get this hub assembly off. Actually, it's not even a pin like it was on the back, it's just a little fold over tab. Keeps this from turning. Get a bigger socket there. This should do it. Yep, and that's hand loose, so nice. And this guy comes off. Alright, I think the outer is ready to come off now. Oh yeah. Like that. This guy out. You may need all of those internals to bad use. Pop that out, we'll see. Alright, now let's get this part off. Just a couple more bolts. Get this brake cable off. Right here. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can get this guy off of here. Alright, we'll have to get the right size wrench for that, which I don't have right now, so we'll get that later. We're replacing these lines anyway, so if we can't get it, we'll just cut it. It's kind of rusted on there, but yeah, no big deal. Alright, let's go ahead, get this cleaned up and get the new caliper on there, or rotor, hub assembly rather. Alright, so we need to get these internals out and put them in the new hub assembly. Alright, so now we gotta get the new internals installed into the hub assembly. Alright, so it should be these three. Just take a look at this. Oh yeah, that good, and that goes in the other end. Okay, so this guy will go down in there. Alright, down in there. And then this will go on top of it to seal it. And then the other side, which is where this one was, and we'll need this little guy probably to seal that up. Alright, so fast forward a few days, and I had to order a special part so I can seat this chase into the disc brake here, and then get the bearing in there. So you really want to make sure you drive it concentrically and don't get it jammed up in here. So we're going to go ahead and try this out. I just ordered this driver off of Amazon. Had pretty good reviews, so it's got a bunch of different sizes. So basically you just set your chase in the wheel bearing, or in the hub assembly here. Try to line it up the best you can so it's flat and even, and then we'll see if we can get this in there without much trouble. It looks like it might be, I don't know, we'll see. See how it goes. Seems like it's a little too big, but I don't know. Alright, give it a go. So, yeah, actually worked really well. Seated in there really nicely. Alright, so now you just gotta pack this guy with grease and then put that in there. Just like that. And we'll get the dust cap in. Alright, so I don't have a grease packer or anything, so we'll do it the old-fashioned way. Bunch of crap in grease. Alright, good enough. Got that all packed in there. And then we'll just drop it in. It sits right in there like that. And my hands off. And we'll get the dust cap one. Just gonna set it on there and tap it in. go crazy or anything. Alright, there we go. Now we'll flip it over and do the front. We'll need Alright, so we'll pop that in, switch out the size. That one should do. So for this guy, you just take this bolt off in the end. You can easily change out the size. Alright, line that up and tap it in. So you can kind of hear that sound change when you know it's seated all the way, and that's when you know you're good to stop. So yeah, should be good now. Alright, and now for this bearing, we'll wait until we put it back on the vehicle to pack it, because we got to get this mounted on the vehicle before we put the bearing in the front. Set this over here. Switch this back. Alright, perfect. Pack this guy. This is a nice, nasty job, but like I said, they make some tools where you can just fill with grease and then sort of clamp them down and it'll force all the grease into it, but I didn't order one of those, so I mean, it's not really that much worse because you got to touch it anyway. Put it in there, so. Alright, flip it over. Alright, so it's the next day, and we're going to go try to get these hubs put back on the front of the buggy, and then we will go from there. Probably see if we can get it started and do a little bit of driving. I know without brakes, but it'll be out in a wide open space, so we don't have to worry about hitting anything, and we can kind of use the transmission to slow down. So yeah, let's jump into it, get these hubs back on, and get this thing running. Alright, so we're back over here with the buggy, and let's see if we can get these spindles on, the rotors, and front hub assembly, and then get everything mounted back together and hopefully get this thing started. So let's jump into it. Alright, so I think, let's see, we'll get this caliper holder mounted back on with the factory bolts. Actually, I think it may have came with some new ones. No. Alright, so let's get that mounted back. This little impact driver right here is probably one of the most useful tools I have. Whether you're building something using screws or wrenching on something, it is so useful with all the quick attachments. You can easily, it's got the impact drive function, so you can get tires off, get hard bolts, etc. It's a great little tool, so definitely recommend picking that up if you do any sort of work that requires such a tool. Can't recommend enough. So this here is where the brake caliper will actually sit. So you want to get this mounted on first, and then get the hub assembly on top of that. Alright. That's all good. And now we need to pack the front hub assembly with grease. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Similar to what we did for the rear ones. Just gonna pack this all in there. Make sure we got grease touching everything where it should. Kind of gross to do this by hand, but I don't have anything else, any other options, so make it work. I'll slap that right in there, like that. Alright, let's go ahead and do the other one while I got my hands dirty. Alright, good enough. Alright, now we just need to get this all back on there. Okay, so this is gonna slide just like this. Okay, so alright, let's think about this for a second. Okay, I think I see what's going on. This guy needs to come off a bit. Let's see. Yep, there we go. So you no longer need this piece since this new hub assembly's gone on. So that was just for the old VW assembly. Alright, now that should go on nicely. Not wanting to go on very easily. We'll get it on there. Looks nice. Alright, put this front bearing in. And we've got this guy that slides in here, holds that in, and now we can put the actual pieces back on. So this guy is what locks it into place, sort of. If for some reason your hub assembly comes off or something, you would have this to sort of hopefully keep the wheel on a little bit, but in reality we know it probably wouldn't do much. But we'll put it back on there. Actually, no, I remember, that doesn't go on yet. First we get the first nut on there, and then that'll lock that nut on. This guy. Okay, that's obviously a little too tight. Okay, now we put this guy on to sort of lock that one into place. Okay, now we can get the second nut on. That just kind of seals it all up. So this one we can get nice and tight. And the reason you have two here is because if you have one and tighten it down to spec, it'll keep this hub assembly from turning. So you get the first one on and get it kind of where it should be. And then the second one is what will make sure that you can tighten it all the way. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright. And let's see. I believe that was it. So yeah, that should be good. Alright, let's jump over. And we'll make sure it's nice and tight and torqued down, but let's jump over to the other side, get the wheel off, and get this other hub on. So it's going together pretty quickly. It's a little bit, I did a few things that I wasn't sure about. I had to change them. But let's get this other one off, and hopefully no trouble getting it all back together. You guys don't want to come off. That one doesn't. If I remember, this one was kind of a pain. Oh my god, we just broke our driver bit there. That's gonna be a real pain. Alright, we can figure something else out here then. So yeah, if you were ever wondering how powerful this little guy is, there you go, I broke my little driver. Alright, see what we can do here. Alright, let's see if we can break this guy free. I don't really know if I'll be able to, but probably have to lower. We're gonna have to lower this back down, so we'll move this jack stand. Alright, so we can break this guy free now. Alright, there we go. Alright, got that off. Let's go ahead and get this up a little bit more. Pop this dust cap off. Grab a screwdriver for that. This might work actually. There you go. Alright. There. Perfect. Oh, I see. Ah, okay. So that would make sense. So one of those tabs should be folded up and one folded down. So I'm actually gonna go change that on the other side real quick. There we go. So I see what we're doing. We just broke that internal tab because it's got a little groove. Okay. Let's maybe go through with it now. This guy does not want to come off. Alright. Alright guys. So basically what happened is I was working on the Dune Buggy and my camera died. I didn't notice, and yeah. So basically I ended up stripping out the left bolt on the driver's side wheel. So I'm gonna need to order a new spindle and bolt for the Dune Buggy. So I'm pausing on that build right now, and I'm gonna do a few things on the Bronco. I did get my wheel spacers ordered, and they should be in later this week. So probably the next video will be installing the wheel spacers. But right now, if you remember, well, here they are. I had the orange beadlock ring protectors, basically just pretty rings for my RRW beadlock capable wheels that I have on the Bronco, and I kind of got tired of the orange, and I just painted these myself so they weren't powdered or anything. So I'll probably eventually decide on a color I want and powder coat them, or just keep painting them when I want to change the color. But so I'm just switching them to black. I kind of want to go for that fully blacked out look on the Bronco, and so I'm gonna get these painted up. And then I'm gonna finally coat this aluminum underpinning that I installed. If you want to see this video, just look a few videos back on my channel and you can see where I installed this. It's just bare aluminum, and it's not gonna rust or anything, but it kind of looks, if you're going for that blackout look, you kind of want to get this blacked out as well, because from a distance it's just kind of an eyesore to see the aluminum. So I'm gonna paint that black with basically it's a bed liner, or it's basically an undercoating paint that you apply, and it also is sort of rubberized, so it'll act as a sound and noise dampening as well. So when rocks and whatnot hit underneath here, it won't be so loud in the cabin. We'll see how it holds up, and I may have to go a different route eventually on these, but for now I'm gonna try that and see how it works. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is, so these pieces on the Bronco, if you see with the wheels, just the amount of, even without poke down below, you can see there, all of those rocks come back and hit right here. So all of these paint chips are just gonna keep continuing to happen. So I got some spray on bed liner. I'm gonna try to coat this piece with that and see how that works. You know, it can't be any worse than this. So, you know, basically, eventually this is gonna just like knock a hole through the fiberglass here. So, or eat a hole through it with all the rock chips that I get here. So front and back, I'm gonna paint these off with a spray on bed liner and see how that holds up. So yeah, blacking out the Bronco, and next video I will hopefully get the wheel spacers, and then the lift will come after that. So let's jump into getting the rest of these rings painted up and then get them reinstalled, and then we'll get the undercarriage. All right, we'll let that dry up and then we'll get a second coat on it. And yeah, this is definitely not the most beautiful paint job, but they're just beauty. They're just protecting rings, and they're gonna get beat up anyways. So yeah, easy, and it'll be easy to touch up. All right, let's jump into getting this underpinning cleaned up and then painted. All right, so let's see how this stuff works. And I didn't paint it, or I didn't tape anything off because I'm just gonna be careful. All right, so let's see how this stuff works. And I didn't paint or I didn't tape anything off because I'm just gonna be careful. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, let's jump into it. Yeah, so this stuff actually goes on really easily and it's not very messy. So I'll try to clean up a few of these little spots and then we'll jump over to the other side. Alright, and just like that, that's all done. So that was super easy. A little bit of running there, but like I said, it's underpinning, so you're not really going to catch that. We'll see how it holds up, you know, and if I miss anywhere, I'll touch those places up. But yeah, I mean, it turned out really great. Alright, let's jump back here and clean these up really good and see if we can get them coated. We actually may do that in a different video just because it's windy right now and I don't want to paint in my garage. So yeah, we'll mess with that next time during the video where we install the wheel spacers. So look forward to that, and a lot of other exciting videos coming soon. And yeah, I'll keep them coming as much as possible. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.